biochemistry cancer. So the specific learning objectives of this session, at the end of the session you should be able to answer what is the molecular basis of the cancer, then you should know about what are the proto-oncogenes and how they are converted to the oncogenes, then which are the different tumor suppressor genes, that is also known as anti-oncogenes. Then we discuss about the tumor markers, and lastly we discuss about shortly about biochemical basis of cancer therapy. Normally in our cell, both the and genes are present, proto-oncogenes and anti-oncogenes. Normally there are the balance between the activity of these proto-oncogenes and anti-oncogenes. Proto-oncogenes that are the normal genes, these are also the normal genes. But when there is a mutation into these proto-oncogenes occurs, they will be activated to the oncogenes. Oncogenes means they may lead to the development of the cancer by these genes activation into oncogenes may lead to the uncontrolled proliferation of particular tissue cell, and it may lead to the mass of the cells that is containing abnormal type of the genes like oncogenes. So that is known as the cancer. First we discuss about the molecular basis of the cancer. Normally any type of the cell growth of any normal cell, it is under the genetic control. The cell should be multiplied into the double cell or not, cell should be particular tissue should be there is a growth of the particular tissue should be occur or not, that is all under the genetic control into the nucleus. So nucleus is also can be considered as a manager's office, that is a factory's office into the main into the manager, where it operates the factory office of the factory may operates the total factory work. So same like that in the nucleus, that is like the office of the factory, that is it contains the genetic material which controls the overall activity of the cell. So cell growth is also maintained or it is controlled by the genetic material. Now when there is a normal cell can be converted to the cancer cell, only either there is a genetic abnormality in the cell occurs, genetic abnormality in the cell occurs which leads to the losing of this control of genetic material into the cell growth, that may leads to the cancer, or either there is a the genetic control abnormality is not occur genetic abnormality but abnormal expression of the normal genes. So if the normal genes are there, their expression may be increase or it may be decrease, that is abnormal. So in both condition can leads to the conversion of normal cell into cancer cell. Now the genetic abnormalities which can lead to the cancer, there are the two causes of the genetic abnormalities. Either it may be present since the birth, that is also known as inherited causes of the genetic abnormality, or either it can occurs, this type of the genetic abnormality occurs after the birth, that is induced mutation due to the certain environmental factors or certain lifestyle modifications that we have discussed under the etiology in the previous class. So these are the genetic abnormality causes, either inherited or induced mutations. Then this mutated cell, once these either genetic abnormality in the cell or abnormal expression of the normal genes, it leads to the mutated cells. These mutated cell once happened, it may transmit their characteristics to their next progeny of the cell, and when this mutated cell becomes divide into the daughter cell, that is progeny cells, again this progeny cell becomes divided into their daughter cell. So there is a once this mutated cell, they will lead to the production of the large number of the mutated cells by the cell division, and this growth of these abnormal cells or mutated cell is results into the cancer. Now normal cell any type of the normal cell, they contains the four different groups of the genes. These genes, they are called the regulatory genes. Why? Because they regulate the cell growth or cell division. The first group of the gene are the proto-oncogenes. These type of the genes, they promote the growth of the cell, means they will allow the cell to divide by production of the certain growth factors or transcription factors, so that cell can be divided into the two daughter cell. So they are also known as growth promoting genes, proto-oncogenes. Another is the anti-oncogenes. They prevents the growth of the tissue, they prevents the cell cycle division and prevents the mitosis, so that is cell cannot divide into the two daughter cell. So also they are also known as growth inhibiting or growth suppressor gene. Third type of the genes are the apoptotic or apoptosis regulatory gene, that we have discussed previously about apoptosis. So apoptosis also occurs by the, also regulated by the certain genetic material, that is known as apoptosis regulatory genes. They actually control the programmed cell death. When there is a cell abnormality or genetic abnormality in such a level where it cannot be repairable, that is seen or recognized by the guardian of the genome, that is P53 gene, that is also known as the anti-oncogenes also, and they are the apoptotic regulatory genes. So they are the third types of the different regulatory genes. Then fourth and most important is also the DNA repair genes. These genes, they regulate the repair of the DNA damage which occurs during the mitosis or either due to certain environmental factors. So first, any cell, if becomes genetic material becomes defective, then DNA repair should be there. It may be occurs due to the certain DNA synthesis or replication occurs during certain cell division. So there are the certain groups of the genes are present in our nucleus, there they are known as the collectively as DNA repair genes. They identify the defect into the particular gene, and they will produce the certain types of the proteins that will help to recognize and to repair that particular defect into the gene. Now if this type of the defect cannot be repairable in such a way that defect is most exhaustive, then it cannot be repairable, then the cell containing gene, that is known as a guardian of genome, they will produce the certain factors, they allows the cell to suicide. So cell will leads to the breakdown and they will die by their self mechanism, that is known as apoptosis. And normally the growth is promoted by certain groups of the genes are proto-oncogenes, and growth is inhibited by anti-oncogenes. Normally in the any normal cell, the function between these and proto-oncogenes and anti-oncogenes are very well coordinated. When there is a cell growth is required, then and then proto-oncogenes are activated and they will lead to the growth promotion. When the cell division is not required, tissue growth is not required, then these genes becomes suppressed and these anti-oncogenes leads activated and produce the certain factors that are the growth inhibiting factors. So there is the action of or function of between these two genes, proto-oncogenes and anti-oncogenes. They will decide the growth of the tissue, and it is very well important. Any deviation in this balance function between the proto-oncogenes and anti-oncogenes, they may leads to the production of the cancer. Suppose if there is a uncontrolled activity or increased activity of these proto-oncogenes that cannot be suppressed, that may lead to the unproliferative cell growth, whether they are the DNA is repaired by DNA repair genes before the next cell division or not. There is uncontrolled cell division continue, that may lead to the cancer. Suppose their activity is normal but these oncosuppressor activity are depressed, so tissue growth is inhibition becomes removed out, so cell growth will be continue and continue. It may lead to the proliferation of the uncontrolled proliferation of the cells. It leads to the cancer. So this is the main basis of the molecular basis of cancer. Now, genetic damage to this normal regulating gene, or they are also known as controlling gene. All proto-oncogenes, oncogenes, or apoptotic regulatory genes, or DNA repair genes, they may lead to production and uncontrolled proliferation of the transformed cancer cell. So any mutated cell is there, if one synthesized, then if there is any genetic damage to that 4 types of the regulatory genes, that may lead to the uncontrolled proliferation of that cell, and it may lead to the cancer. Now, what is the particular net effect when there is a particular regulatory genes become defective? This is the regulatory gene. These are the damage to regulatory gene. What happens if the damage to regulatory gene occurs? What is the net effect of that damage? So if the proto-oncogenes, these proto-oncogenes are the normal genes, but proto-oncogenes are converted to oncogenes when they are becomes mutated out. So what is net effect? They will lead to the conversion of normal cell into the cancered cell or mutated cell. It is known as transformation of the normal cell. Then if there is anti-oncogenes, they becomes damaged. So there is inactivation of the cancer suppressor, cell suppressor genes, inactivation of the cancer suppressor genes or growth suppressor genes. These genes prevents the prevents the proliferation of the cell tissue, so it prevents the cancer formation. So these inactivation of the cancer suppressor genes or tissue suppressor genes, that may lead to the permission to the cellular proliferation of transformed cell. So cellular transformed cell which is synthesized by these oncogenes, they will lead to the if these anti-oncogenes becomes defective in that cell, so cellular proliferation becomes uncontrolled, and there is a large number of the cell division of this abnormal or cancer cell transformed cell occurs. Then apoptotic regulatory gene, if becomes damaged, they becomes abnormal, and it will decrease the ability of that transformed cell for the programmed cell death or suicide. So there is a decrease of apoptosis. And DNA repair genes, if they becomes defective, it inability to repair the DNA damage resulting in the mutation. So these are the activities of this regulatory gene becomes defective due to the mutation, and this is the net effect. That is the cancer cell is produced, and there is uncontrolled proliferation of that cancer cell occurs. This is the chart of this molecular basis of the cancer which I have taken from this Pankaj Nayak biochemistry book. That is, if there is a acquired DNA damaging agents like chemicals, viruses and radiation, which they are known as a carcinogens, if they damage to the normal cell, and if they leads to the DNA damage, any type of the DNA, any type of the genetic material, then DNA repair system comes into action, and it should be repaired that DNA damage to the normal cell. But if these DNA repair genes, that are the regulatory genes, they becomes defective, then DNA repair cannot occur. Failure of DNA repair, it will lead to the mutation into that type of the DNA or particular gene. Then if there is this mutation occurs, this mutation, suppose it is into the growth promoting gene, that is a proto-oncogene. So this proto-oncogene becomes activated to the oncogenes, and if the mutation occurs into the tumor suppressor gene, that is anti-oncogenes, so there is inactivation of the tumor suppressor gene. So there is a oncogenes, they will lead to the transformation of the cell of normal cell into the cancer cell, and this will inactivation of tumor suppressor genes leads to permission to the uncontrolled proliferation of the cell. So there is an unregulated cell proliferation occurs, which may lead to the malignant tumor. Also, if this type of the defective cell with a defective genetic material is recognized by the normal apoptotic genes, then it can leads to the gives the signal for the suiciding of the particular cell. But this mutation, if they leads to the abnormality into the apoptotic regulatory genes also, so there is a this gene's ability becomes inhibit or it will be removed to suicide the cell. So decrease suiciding of the cell activity by alteration in the genes that regulate the apoptosis. So this cell cannot be die by their own self suiciding mechanism, and they will lead to the uncontrolled proliferation of their transform cell, and these both coordinately leads to the malignant tumor of the cancer cell. So this is a most important pathway for the molecular basis of the cancer. So that now we discuss about our second objective, that is proto-oncogenes and what are the oncogenes. So obviously we have seen that what are the proto-oncogenes. Proto-oncogenes, they are the growth promoting controlled genes, means they are in controlled normal genes. They are the actually normal genes of the normal cell which stimulates the cell division. They are a growth promoting genes, controlled genes. They genes actually they code for the number of the proteins like growth factors, certain growth factor receptors, certain transcription factors, and certain another factors which helps to growth that particular type of the tissue. So these are the proto-oncogenes. Now what are the oncogenes? Oncogenes, their activity becomes uncontrolled. That is not controlled by our normal genetic material. What are they? Actually, when these proto-oncogenes, they becomes mutated by any type of the etiological factors of the cancers, like viruses, chemical carcinogen, physical carcinogens. If they acts on these proto-oncogenes and they convert this proto-oncogene into the mutated form, they will lead to the production of these oncogenes. These oncogenes are the altered genes that are derived from the mutation of normal cellular proto-oncogenes. And once these proto-oncogenes converted to oncogenes, the proto-oncogenes normally they are the controlled genes. They are controlled by our genetic material. But once they becomes mutated form, their controlled by our genetic material becomes removed out. So these are the uncontrolled genes. Now these activity of these uncontrolled genes, oncogenes, they leads to the production of the transformed cell from the normal cell. So these oncogenes, they are the capable of producing the cancer. In cancer cell, what happened? Normal proto-oncogenes are permanently changed to the oncogenes, and what is the once these converted these proto-oncogenes to the oncogenes, normally as I have told you that normally the function between these proto-oncogenes and anti-oncogenes, that are tumor suppression genes, they are well coordinated with each other. So there is a regulation of growth of the particular tissue will be maintained, or it is occurred by this balance function between the proto-oncogenes and anti-oncogenes. But these proto-oncogenes activity becomes uncontrolled out by their conversion into oncogenes. So the balance between the factors which stimulating and the factors which are inhibiting, so these factors stimulating growth is removed out by their conversion to oncogenes. So there is a balance between these stimulating factors and inhibiting factors of cell growth is permanently lost out. So that results into the increased proliferation of the cell because the activity of these oncogenes are uncontrolled. Now which are the different mechanisms by which these proto-oncogenes can be converted to oncogenes? So these any type of the carcinogens, physical carcinogens, chemical carcinogens, or viral carcinogens, they leads to the 5 types of the different mechanisms that may lead to the conversion of proto-oncogenes into the oncogenes. One mechanism is promoter insertion. Promoter means this is the area of the gene in which that is the presence left side to that particular gene, and it will leads to the allowing of this RNA polymerase enzyme to transcribe that particular area of that gene. So if this promoter area of that proto-oncogene, they will be defective, or there is a insertion of certain types of the viral genome into that promoter area region. So this promoter which promotes the activity of RNA polymerase only once there is a required cell growth is required or particular gene transcription is required. This will be lost out, and by this promoter insertion it will lead to the continuous activity of this RNA polymerase enzyme to transcribe that particular RNA, so that particular protein becomes synthesized. So continuously synthesis and controlled of that gene transcription becomes lost out by this promoter insertion. So this is the one mechanism. Second mechanism is enhancer insertion. Enhancers, that are the region of the certain genetic material where the certain protein binds, which will lead to the increased transcription or increased gene expression. So if there is enhancer becomes inserted out, a certain molecule inserted into the enhancer region, they will lead to the continuous signal to transcribe that particular gene. So gene expression becomes uncontrolled and it is continuously expressed out. Then chromosomal translocation. It means certain portion of this chromosome from one chromosome, they will be translocated to the another chromosome. So what happened? Like in Burkitt's lymphoma, there is a one portion like called the MYC gene. They will be translocated from the chromosome number 8 to chromosome number 22. So when there is transformed to that another chromosome, their activity becomes increased. So this gene becomes leads to the increased gene expression of the particular gene area. So it will lead to the uncontrolled growth of the cell. Gene amplification we have seen in the gene regulation aspects of eukaryotic gene regulation, in which certain genes they becomes amplified into the large number. So there is a large number of the product is synthesized. So there is a, if suppose this gene is from the Z code for the certain growth factors, that may leads to the conversion into the large number of the growth factors, which leads to the large number of the proliferation of the cells. Then point mutation. If there is a certain nucleotides becomes defective into or that it may be removed by that point mutation into the certain proton oncogenes, it may lead to the defective activity of these proton oncogenes, that are called the oncogenes. So these are the mainly different various 5 mechanisms: promoter insertion, enhancer insertion, chromosomal translocation, gene amplification, and point mutation. You can further read these different mechanisms in detail, that is given in your book by that in Burkitt, under the headings of Burkitt's lymphoma, then insertion of the viral genome into the DNA, then that is under the chromosomal translocation mechanism mainly. So now there are different factors, various factors that cause the cancer cell may all act through their effect on the proto-oncogenes mainly. Like these radiations and chemical carcinogens, they may cause the mutation in the proto-oncogenes. So these proto-oncogenes converted to the oncogenes. Or viruses, as we have seen in the under the biological carcinogens, RNA virus and DNA virus, they will infect the host cell and they will integrate their genome into the host genome, and it will lead to the mutant cell production, or that inhibits the particular growth suppressing gene. So these may introduce their promoters into the host cells, which regulate the proto-oncogene expression. So that the promoter insertion occurs in the proto-oncogene. So these promoters will be continuously leads to the allowing RNA polymerase enzyme to transcribe that particular type of the gene area. So this gene becomes now more uncontrolled activation. So that is known as a oncogenes. So these all activity, either there is a mutation in the proto-oncogenes, or there is a promoter insertion or enhancer insertion into the proto-oncogenes, or there is a chromosomal translocation from other chromosomes into the same cell from the another chromosome into the proto-oncogenes chromosome, or there is a point mutation in this proto-oncogenes, or there is a this gene amplification into the proto-oncogenes. That all activity it will leads to the losing of normal control of proto-oncogenes because they are converted into the uncontrolled type of oncogenes. These are the certain lists of oncogenes which are uncontrolled, which are synthesized by conversion of these proto-oncogenes, and their mutated related products I have taken here. That is to, these are the certain list that is actually it is not exhaustive list. So we have already seen in zinc in leucine zipper motif that they will act through binding with Foss and Jun type of the transcription factors. So if this mutated product of transcription factors is synthesized by this conversion of these proto-oncogenes of Foss and Jun type into the oncogenes, so this transcription factors becomes continuously synthesized and it will lead to the transcription of the particular gene. So that may lead to the uncontrolled growth. Like the MYC gene, they are DNA binding proteins, so they work in the nucleus. So like that, the RAS proteins are also, you might have learned into the hormone axon. The RAS axon is normally, RAS axon is required as GTP binding protein. So it will inhibits the activity of that alpha factors of the G protein. Then ABL type of the gene is also act as a protein kinase. So this protein kinase becomes mutated in this protein kinase. They will lead to the increased activity of the intracellular receptors that may lead to the continuous signal to transcribe or to express that particular gene. Likewise, SRC is protein kinase. Then another are like certain growth factor receptors. If they becomes mutated out by this particular receptor encoding, that gene becomes oncogenes. So these growth factors becomes continuously active, and even if in the absence of that growth factor which requires to active the activity of this growth factor receptor, even if their absence, this becomes active and continuously it will lead to the send the signal inside the nucleus or cytoplasm, and it will lead to the uncontrolled gene expression of particular gene. So these are the certain aspects regarding the proto-oncogenes and oncogenes. This is another figure showing that how there is a malignant transformation occurs. Either certain oncogenic viruses or ionizing radiation, that is physical type of the carcinogen, that is biological type of carcinogen, then chemical carcinogens. These are the certain acquired condition, and if there is a spontaneous mutation occurs and chromosomal alteration by certain environmental factors, that all can lead to the proto-oncogene activation into the oncogenes or deletion or inhibition of oncosuppressor genes. So their balance function between these proto-oncogenes and oncosuppressor genes becomes removed out. So growth promoting factors become synthesized abnormally into the large number, while there is a growth inhibiting factors becomes decrease in their number. So there is a growth becomes uncontrolled, and it will lead to the conversion of normal cell into the malignant transformation. Now we discuss about the tumor suppressor genes that are also known as anti-oncogenes. Actually, these are also the normal genes. Tumor suppressor genes are also normal genes. They are actually growth inhibitory genes. They produce a protein product which suppress the cell growth. They mainly regulate the cell cycle and cell apoptosis, so that cell cycle is regulated, so that it regulates the cell growth. Then if there is a mutation of this tumor suppressor gene occurs, it may lead to the removal of regulation of cell cycle and apoptosis. So that promote the apoptosis and that prevents the normal cell cycle to prevent the cell growth. But if they becomes mutated out, their inhibitory activity on apoptosis is removed out, and their stimulatory activity on cell division, inhibitory activity on the cell division will be removed out, and stimulatory activity on apoptosis becomes removed out. So apoptosis cannot occur, and cell division becomes continuously active. By which mechanism it may lead to the development of cancer? Due to inhibitory effect of its product is lost, or either it is diminished, which leads to the uncontrolled cell growth, because they are the growth inhibitory genes. These are the two main oncogenes that are commonly we have discussed along with these type of the gene into the cell cycle, as they are the regulatory genes of the cell cycle. That is retinoblastoma gene and p53 gene. So they, as we have already discussed under this cell cycle, it is very easy to understand what is retinoblastoma gene. So this type of the genes, they are the tumor suppressor genes. It was first tumor suppressor gene was discovered, normally lies on chromosome number 13. It encodes for nuclear transcription factor, that is known as protein RB, and normally they are bind with the certain cyclins that we have discussed in the cell cycle. They are normally bind with the certain cyclins, but when this cyclin dependent kinases enzyme, they will lead to the phosphorylation of this retinoblastoma protein. So this retinoblastoma protein removed out from that cyclins, and this cyclins becomes now activated, and these cyclins, they will lead to the operation of this cell cycle. So cell cycle will be now started. But if the retinoblastoma gene produce the normal protein, they will continuously remain bind to cyclin, and cyclin cannot be activated. So they leads to prevention of the cell cycle. So mutation of the RB gene, it leads to the several human cancer, including the retinoblastoma. Why they have given retinoblastoma? Because it was first found from the person who was suffering from retinoblastoma cancer. They are also found as a mutated product into the certain other human cancer also, other than retinoblastoma. Second is p53 gene, that is also known as guardian of the genome or gatekeeper of gene of the cell. They are normally located in the chromosome number 17. Actually, it prevents the multiplication of the genetically damaged cell. When suppose there is a due to any either replication defect, or either there is due to certain environmental factors, if the certain cell suppose they contains the damaged DNA into that cell, this p53 gene prevents the operation or prevents the transformation of the cell cycle from the S phase to the G2 phase, or it prevents the starting of that cell cycle or cell division of particular genetically damaged cell. So they are also known as a molecular policemen. They will decide whether the cell should be operated into the another cell cycle for the cell division or not. So if there is a p53 gene found that the DNA of the normal cell is damaged out here, so due to certain carcinogens, so it is not wise to divide that abnormal type of the genetic material containing that cell to divide, because it may lead to the another two progeny containing abnormal DNA. So there is a abnormal protein is synthesized and leads to the maybe cancer. So what the p53 gene will do? It will do first inhibition of the mitosis activity of the cell cycle. So it prevents the mitosis, and it will also activate certain proteins that will lead to the repair of the DNA genetically that damaged portion of that DNA by activation of the DNA repair genes. But if this DNA repair gene cannot able to repair that type of the genetically damaged portion of the DNA, then they will again gives the signal to p53 gene that we have tried our best, but we cannot repair the genetic damages at such a level that we cannot repair it. So what the p53 gene will do, as they are the genome guardian of genome, they will leads to the activity, they activate certain another genes, that is also called the p21 genes also. They will leads to the products, they will, what they will do, that type of the protein factors, they will leads to the production of the activation of the apoptotic regulatory genes. So that will leads to the apoptosis or suicide of the particular cell. So these genetically damaged cell cannot remain there. It is known as suiciding, because the cell itself becomes degraded by their own mechanism. So this p53 gene is a two important function. One is inhibition of mitotic activity, another is the promotion of apoptosis. So these two genes, they are very well important because they prevents the suppression, prevents the growth of the damaged type of the cells or normal cells when it is not required. These are the another list of the certain oncosuppressor genes. One is retinoblastoma gene, we had already seen. Then Wilms tumor gene, it was also found in renal tumors patients. Then familial adenomatous polyposis, deleted colonic cancer, they are mutated into the colon cancer. Then gene for p53, that is p53, and familial breast cancer, that is BRCA gene, that are also found as a mutated into the familial breast cancer. So this was all about oncosuppressor genes or anti-onco genes or tumor suppressor genes. Now we discuss about the tumor markers. What is tumor marker? Marker means that marks that particular defection. So tumor, it is if there is a tumor is there or not. So what is tumor marker? They are the biological substance, they are synthesized and released by the cancer cells, and they are found in increased amount in the blood or other body fluids or tissue, which may suggest that presence of the particular type of the cancer. These includes the certain surface antigens, certain enzymes, certain hormones, certain cytoplasmic proteins. They are actually synthesized and released by the cancer cells. Different types of the tumor markers. One is oncofetal antigens. Mainly are the alpha fetoprotein and carcinoembryonic antigen. Certain hormones like beta human chorionic gonadotropin, calcitonin, growth hormones. Carbohydrate markers like CA125. Certain enzymes like lactate dehydrogenase, phosphatic acid phosphatase, amylase, alkaline phosphatase. These bold letters, they are alpha fetoprotein, CEA, carcinoembryonic antigen, beta HCG, and CA125. They are most routinely clinically important tumor markers. First, we will discuss about what is oncofetal antigens. So these oncofetal antigens, they are the antigens which are activated during the fetal life, that is carcinoembryonic antigen and alpha fetoprotein. So these genes in fetal life, they will be activated and they will lead to the production of proteins in fetal blood. These proteins are present in high concentration in the sera of fetuses, but once this fetus becomes born, then inhibition or suppression of these fetal antigens or oncofetal genes becomes suppressed out. So these proteins are not synthesized. So after birth, their level becomes decreased to or may disappear after the birth. In fetal life, it is present. After birth, their level becomes decreased or absent, but this protein again becomes reappear in cancer patients of certain types of the cancer patient, because this gene which was repressed, initially it was activated, then it was repressed, means inhibited, or it is repressed after the birth. But once there is a due to certain genetically problem or genetic abnormality due to certain environmental factors, it may lead to the de-repression, means inhibition of repression of that particular gene. So this gene, oncofetal gene, becomes de-repressed out. So they becomes again, genes becomes reactivated, and results, it will lead to the malignant transformation of the cell. So in normal person, these oncofetal antigens or oncofetal genes are inhibited out. They are the alpha fetoprotein and carcinoembryonic antigen. This is the graphical presentation of these oncofetal antigens. In embryonic cell, suppose this is the nucleus, this is the cell. Where in embryonic cell, they are the active, so they will lead to the production of the certain proteins. These are the embryonic antigens or oncofetal antigens. They are expressed during the fetal life, and they are the functional genes. But once they becomes born out in normal adult cell, these genes becomes repressed, so they doesn't lead to the production of that product. So antigens are not expressed into the normal adult cell. But if this normal cell becomes transformed out into the cancer cell, so in certain cancers, again these gene of oncopital antigens, they becomes again activated. So it is known as repression means inhibition and derepression. There is a again inhibition of this repression means activation. So in genetic term it is derepressed. So if there is a gene becomes derepressed, again they becomes active and it will synthesize that product. So again these embryonic antigens becomes re-expressed as a tumor antigen into the malignant cell only. So in normal adult cell it is not there. So it was about the oncopital antigen. Then these are the clinical important tumor markers, mainly alpha fetoprotein, carcinoembryonic antigen, beta human chorionic gonadotropin and prostate specific antigen and CA125. This alpha fetoprotein, it is origin from, it is actually glycoprotein which is produced by yolk cell in early fetal life, mainly in fetal life. It is glycoprotein in nature. It is elevated into the mainly hepatocellular carcinoma and germ cell tumors of the testes. But it is also elevated into this cirrhosis, that is a benign condition. This hepatocellular carcinoma is malignant condition. Hepatitis, pregnancy. So it is not specific for the detection of the cancer because it is elevated into the many conditions. Then carcinoembryonic antigen, it is also glycoprotein produced by embryonic tissue of liver, gut and pancreatic cell. They are elevated into the mainly colorectal cancer, but they are also activated into the certain another cancers like breast cancer, colon cancer, lung cancer, gastric cancer, ovarian cancer and pancreatic cancer. Also it is elevated into the benign condition, benign non-malignant condition like emphysema and inflammatory bowel disease. So again they are not specific marker because they are increased in the large number of conditions. Then beta HCG, they are normally synthesized by the placental syncytotrophoblast cells and they are elevated into the germ cell tumors, identiform wall, chorionic carcinoma and pregnancy. So as they are elevated into the large number of conditions, they are also not specific for the particular type of the cancer. Then PSA, prostate specific antigen, they are secreted by the secretory epithelium of prostate gland. They are elevated into the prostatic cancer. So it is specific for prostatic cancer. Then CA125, it is a carbohydrate antigen. They are also glycoprotein in nature. Then they are elevated into the ovarian cancer. So you must know these important tumor markers, their origin and their elevated condition. What are the applications of the tumor markers? How they are useful? So tumor markers can be useful to detect the particular tumors by the screening in asymptomatic persons, whether the person suffering may be suffering from tumor or not. They are also utilized for the diagnostic, for differentiating malignant tumors from benign conditions. They are also useful for monitoring of the cancer, to monitor the effectiveness of the therapy and to detect whether there is a recurrence of the cancer has been occurred or not. It is useful to stage the cancer, whether to define the extent of the disease, whether it is localized into the origin of the tissue, whether it is spread to the distant spread, etc. Then localization by injecting radioactive antibodies against the marker. So we can find out that particular tissue localization where it is present. Then it is also useful for the prognosis of the disease. So these are the certain application of the tumor markers. These are the list of the tumor markers. It has been shown that it is also given in your book that which tumor markers are increased in the which condition. We have already seen the list of the tumor markers of commonly utilized tumor markers or clinically important tumor markers. That is alpha fetoprotein, carcinoembryonic antigen. The alpha fetoprotein increase in hepatoma and germ cell cancer, carcinoembryonic antigen colorectal, GIT and lung cancer. Carbohydrate antigen like CA125 mainly in ovarian cancer of the epithelial origin. Then enzymes ALP into the bone secondaries means placental type ALP Regan isoenzyme into the lung and seminoma, lung carcinoma and seminoma. Then prostatic acid phosphate in prostate cancer, PSA into the prostate cancer, neuron specific knowledge in the nervous system tumors, neuroblastoma. Beta HCG, that are the hormones beta HCG in chorionic carcinoma, calcitonin, medullary carcinoma, thyroid. Then large long SCTH, that is lung oat cell carcinoma, VIP, vasoactive intestinal polypeptide into the epidoma, that is amine precursor uptake decarboxylation. Then vanilla and Mandelic acid in the pheochromocytoma and neuroblastoma, that we have discussed under the tyrosine metabolism. Then hydroxyindole acetic acid into the carcinoid syndrome, that we have discussed under the tryptophan metabolism. Then tissue catabolic product like hydroxyproline into the bone metastasis. Serum proteins like immunoglobulins in multiple myeloma and macroglobulinemia. Dense Jones proteins into the multiple myeloma. Certain receptor tumor markers like estrogen receptors and progesterone receptors in carcinoma of breast mainly and carcinoma uterine. These are routinely used as a ER and PR receptors as a tumor markers in carcinoma of breast also. Also the HER2 or ERB2 or EGFR2 type of receptor into the carcinoma of breast. So these are all about the tumor markers. This is also most important short note in the cancer chapter, that is tumor markers. Now lastly we discuss about the biochemical basis of the cancer therapy. So there are the many treatment of cancer therapy are available. Most important is surgery, then chemotherapy also, that is drug treatment, then radiation therapy, hormonal therapy and targeted therapy. Now choice of the therapy depends on the location and grade of the tumor, stage of the disease and general state of the patient, which therapy should be chosen out. Mainly surgery and radiation therapy are the principal methods of treating this primary tumor. But when this primary tumor cannot be removed out by this surgery and radiation therapy, cytotoxic chemotherapy is also used sometimes as a treatment. Now what are the mainly principles of the particular treatment modalities of the cancer? So in chemotherapy, it is the main mode of the treatment, but it is not cancer specific, because if we give the drug, they also act on the cancer cell also, they also act onto the normal cell, because it cannot identify this is the cancer cell only. It is non-targeted therapy, a drug therapy. It kills the normal cells also by promoting apoptosis or necrosis. So different types of the drugs, they act at the different stage of the cell cycle. These are the chemotherapy or certain common anti-cancer drug like methotrexate, that is folic acid analog that we have seen under the folic acid chapter, that is methotrexate. That is, this methotrexate is the same competitive structural analog of the folic acid. So instead of folic acid, this methotrexate, that is bind with the dihydrofolate reductase enzyme. So tetrahydrofolate is required, as this tetrahydrofolate cannot be synthesized by this dihydrofolate reductase enzyme, because it binds with the structural analog of folic acid to this methotrexate. So this THF is not available for that cancerous tissue. So as the THF is not available, so the nucleotide synthesis cannot be happen in absence of THFA. So it will lead to the inhibition of the cancer's growth. Like other drugs like purine analogs like 6-mercaptopurine and 6-thioguanine, they will lead to the inhibition of production of the purine molecules, or if they are inserted is a purine analog instead of particular purine molecule, they will prevent the DNA replication. So inhibits the conversion of IMP to AMP or inhibits the synthesis of purine nucleotide. Then 5-fluorouracil, it is pyrimidine analog, it inhibits the thymidylate synthetase enzyme. Cyclophosphamide, they are the alkylating agents, they will lead to the as the alkylating agents we have seen, they are the products, they will lead to the production of cross linking of the bases into the DNA. So this DNA becomes defective and inhibition of the strand separation during DNA replication. So this particular cell cannot be divided into the two progeny, so cancer cell growth becomes inhibited. Mitomycin C, again it is antibiotic, it will lead to the cross bridges are formed between the DNA base pairs, again DNA defect will be produced into the particular cancer cell. Then actinomycin D, it intercalates with guanine bases in DNA and prevents the transcription. Vincristine, vinblastin, they are important alkaloids from the certain plants that interferes with the assembly of cytoskeleton and inhibits the steathomokinesis, means spindle movements during the cell division into the mitotic mitotic cell division. So cell cannot be divided because these of the drugs they will bind with the cytoskeletons. Then adriamycin it will lead to the topoisomerase mediated breaks in the DNA. Etoposide and tenoposide they stabilize the topoisomerase 2 DNA cleavage complexes. So topoisomerase cannot lead to the actually they inhibit the topoisomerase enzyme. They cannot lead to the cut into the DNA strand. So there is a supercoiling of the DNA cannot be released out. Then cyst plastine that is formed inter-strand DNA adducts. Imatinib, sorafenib they are the certain kinase inhibitors. So this about the chemotherapy. Then regarding the principle of treatment of radiotherapy, actually in the radiotherapy we use a high powered energy beams like X-rays. So their energy is delivered to the tissue which causes the ionization and excitation of these atoms and molecules. So what it will lead to? It will lead to DNA breaks into the cancer cell. So either they becomes apoptosis means programmed cell death occurs into the DNA, and or either it will lead to the production of the free radicals which damage the PUFA molecules, protein or DNA cell, and cancer cell becomes die. Then hormonal therapy, like certain cancers growth it requires the certain hormones only. So if we remove that hormone from that particular tissue or the blood, it will inhibit the growth of that particular cancer cell. Like estrogen hormone stimulates the growth of breast and endometrial cancer. Androgen stimulates the growth of prostate cancer. If there is a removal of this hormone from body or block their effect, hormonal effect, it will lead to the apoptosis because they are required for the growth of the cancer tissue. So it will lead to the programmed cell death of the cancer tissue and slows or stops the growth of the breast and prostate cancer. So this is the basis of the hormonal therapy. Basis of targeted drug therapy. Cancer cell have changes in their genes. Actually cancer cell gene are certain change from the normal cell. So cancer cell can grow faster than the normal cell. These target drugs they mainly targets the difference in these characteristics of the cancer cell according to their genetic changes or protein expression changes. So what the target drug will do? Either it can lead to the stop the cancer cell from dividing, it also leads to the killing of this cancer cell, or either it may encourage certain immune products. So they will attack on the cancer cells only. They will also stop the cancer from growing new blood vessels. If we, that is known as a angiogenesis of growing new blood vessel. If we use the drugs against this angiogenesis, that will lead to the removing of this growing of blood vessels. So the cancer cells cannot gain the nutrition. Help carry other treatments like chemotherapy directly to the cancer cells. Which are the drug therapy like cancer growth blockers are used? Certain anti-angiogenic drugs that stops the cancer from growing blood vessels, and monoclonal antibody. They directly, in case of this monoclonal antibody, they are under immunotherapy, in which we are producing certain antibodies against that particular type of the protein which are synthesized in large amount by that cancer cell, and that we will introduce into the particular cancerous tissue. So these monoclonal antibody bind with protein and it will lead to the antigen antibody reaction and destruction of that protein. Certain types of the other factors, other proteins like cytokines and interferons, they are also used as a treatment under the immunotherapy principle of the treatment. So these are the different types of the modalities of the treatment of the cancer therapy. Now what is the change occurs into the cancer in cancer cell, how it looks different, how there is a morphological changes and biochemical changes seen into the cancer cell. So what is the morphological changes in size and shape of the cancer cell rather than the normal cell? This cancer cell becomes completely round in the shape, and usually they are the larger than normal cell because the cell shows altered nuclear cytoplasmic ratio. Actually, nuclear aspects of cell is around fourth part or fifth part of their total cell. The cytoplasm is four part, and only one part of into the nuclear aspect in the normal cell. But in cancer cell, the ratio of nuclear cytoplasmic occurs into 1:1, means same nucleus area is same and cytoplasmic area becomes same, but in normal cell it is 1:4 or 1:6 in nuclear cytoplasmic ratio. So nuclear becomes large amount. Then hyperchromatism and abundant mitosis means, hyperchromatism means dense chromosome becomes occurs into the cancer cell, and large number of mitosis occurs into cell division occurs in cancer cell. Cancer cell often grows one over other. So there is cancer cell becomes grow one cancer cell, second, third, fourth. So the multiple layers of the cancer cell becomes occur, and it is effardus. And there is a no normal distribution into the cell as in the normal person doesn't occur. Tumor cell also have the diminution. Normally any cell into the normal tissue, they have the contact between the neighbor cell to certain signal signal transposition between two cells or to talk between the cells, that is cell adhesion. But in cancer cell they will remove out any type of the relation between the neighbor cell. So tumor cell have the diminished adhesion. Which are the biochemical changes into the cancer cell? Mainly increased synthesis of DNA and RNA, so nucleus becomes large. Increased rate of glycolysis, so it requires the large amount of the production of the pyruvate, and it will use a large amount of the lactic acid synthesis. So these lactic acid or lactic acidosis are seen in the person of the cancer suffer from the cancer. Changes in the composition and the structures of the glycoproteins and other glycoconjugates. So there is a receptor which are the mainly glycoprotein in nature, their structure becomes also different, and it will lead to the hazardous effect or uncontrolled effect. Then altered permeability and the surface charge of the cell also. Increased activity of the ribonucleotide reductase. So large amount of the ribonucleotide will be converted to the deoxyribonucleotide for DNA synthesis. Then secretion of the certain proteases and the protein kinases enzyme, which will lead to the production of the cell division. Then alteration in the isoenzymes or fetal pattern and synthesis of the fetal proteins that we have seen under the oncofetal antigen like alpha fetoprotein and carcinoembryonic antigen. So this was about the changes in the cancer cell, like morphological changes and the biochemical changes. So this completes our today's